time I kind of kick off the 2020 recruiting class in fashion with some technical difficulties, but we appreciate you guys logging on and being part of this. Today is an exciting day for our football program. For us, this equates to a lot of wins in a season, having a chance to welcome these young men into our football program. And 27 guys, 12 from Illinois, 12 from Wisconsin, 12 from Minnesota, 1 from Iowa, and 2 from the state of Nevada will be welcomed into our program today. And this process for us started in upwards of maybe a year and a half ago as we started to build a relationship with these guys and their families through camps, maybe unofficial visits on campus, and comes to a head this afternoon. So for us, this season, this recruiting season, was like everything else. We had to roll with the punches. We had to get innovative. We had to become creative. And we need to tip our hat to our administration, our staff, our faculty on campus that had to no longer meet with some of these recruits face to face and figure out a different way to help attract the brightest and the best athletically and academically to UMD. And these folks were tremendous for us. I think a big difference for our recruiting class this year was our ability, with our administration's help, to be able to have camps in the city of Duluth this summer with COVID. And we did that safely and effectively and efficiently. And we were able to secure what we think is a tremendous class for our football program, both offensively, defensively, and including on our special teams. We feel we got a really good weapon in our special teams this recruiting season. So we're excited about this group. I think the overwhelming thing about this class is the athleticism. Our staff had a chance to evaluate these guys through camps and have a chance to actually coach the majority of these guys, have a chance to look these guys in the face and see these guys react a little bit. And equally as important, these recruits that are now our student athletes had a chance to evaluate us and come to campus this summer, see the city of Duluth, see campus, see our athletic department, and interact with our coaching staff. And those that didn't came up for unofficial visits throughout the summer and made a decision to come to Duluth. So it's an exciting day for us, and we're excited to get going with this group.
All right. You have anything more, Coach?
I don't. So we can open it up for questions.
All right. We'll start off with Sam Ali.
Kurt, in that same vein with the issues with COVID, how much did the players kind of talk to you or kind of confide in you in some of the issues that they were having throughout this entire process that, I mean, no one could really plan for?
Yeah, the issues were early. So it was in the summer where a lot of these guys didn't know whether or not they were going to have seasons. They didn't know whether or not they were going to have a chance to go see campus, other campuses, maybe go to other camps. So it became for us a virtual world. And I think our staff did a tremendous job being innovative, having a chance to connect with these folks via Zoom, via Google Meet, whatever it may be, with their families and with them to be able to sell the city of Duluth and our campus. So, every state was different, every prospect, every school, every county was different. So it wasn't just one issue like all of us have had throughout COVID. We've all had our ups and downs and issues. In the same sense, we took it as a positive that we were able to have these young men on campus. And it for us, we think it equaled a tremendous recruiting class.
Go to John.
Coach, I was surprised by how large this class was. I'm just curious, how many guys do you have who are going to come back on this year's team? And how were you able to sign or get this many letters of acceptance?
Yeah, and that's a balancing act for us right now. So we're going to return 8 of 15 seniors that were off of last year's team or should have been off last year's team for their 6th season coming back. So that really, for us, it's a really fine balancing act for our administration and myself and our staff to be able to take a look at how many guys you have coming back and equate into, all of our guys are on partial scholarships. So to be able to balance our scholarships and our roster numbers. So for us, we looked at this as an opportunity for our coaching staff to bring in a tremendous class. And at the end of the day, with COVID, with graduation, with academics and everything, things will work its way out by fall where we need to be at a roster number. And again, this class is for us. We continued to work hard on positions of need for us and feel that we got our top kids in this class to be able to sign today, which is a tremendous thing. I know for the first time in this recruiting class, we were able to get on a Zoom with this entire group and be able to talk to everybody at once. So, as kids committed to us, they'd add into the room week by week, and to be able to talk to this group and see those guys start interacting as teammates with one another was a tremendous thing. And again, something that we've never done in the past with COVID.
Sam, I'll eat.
Kurt, was there an overarching personality trait or character trait in these 27 guys?
No, I mean, I think every kid's a little bit different. The kids that we had on campus and the kids that we had a chance to be able to have in camp, we're looking for kids that are going to work hard. And, for us, the guys that maybe we didn't have in camp, we did a really thorough background check with their coaching staff or folks in their hometown, or we've seen these guys play. So we want guys that are going to work hard and are willing to come to Duluth and better themselves and develop. So if there's something overwhelming, number one, we're at UMD. I think we have a tremendous academic support system. But we're also bringing in really good students. So that's going to be number one. These students need to be able to get admitted to come to UMD. And then number two, like I had stated earlier, to have a chance to work with these guys, the majority of these guys in camp, and see these guys interact with one another, see these guys interact with their staff was a tremendous thing. We know these are guys that we were excited to coach in the summer. They were excited to be here. And odds are these guys will be excited to be here in the fall and be ready to go.
Over to Alicia.
Like you said, you had a good number of people from Minnesota, but also just looking at Gavin Skelton from Mesabi East and Northlander himself, just what did you see from him that you're excited for?
Yeah, Gavin was a guy that was used in multiple ways at Mesabi East. They used him in the backfield, used him all over the field defensively, and offensively found ways to get him the football. So he's a big, strong athlete that can run. And so when he was at camp, we were excited the way that he moved, the way he interacted with us, and we felt right away after meeting him on campus that he was going to fit our football program. So for us, it didn't take long to think that this guy can be a slam dunk for our football program, and we were excited when we got the phone call from him that he said he wanted to be a Bulldog.
Go to Sam.
6 defensive backs. Kind of just talk about was it something where replenishing the cupboard in the secondary? What was the idea behind that?
Yeah, I think there's some of that. We needed to maybe boost our numbers in the secondary. We hadn't done that in the last recruiting class. We have some guys, but we didn't maybe have the numbers that we need. In the same sense, I think every recruiting class takes on its own personality, and you're looking at this is a deep recruiting class for our level in the secondary. It was a deep recruiting class for us in the offensive line. So we signed 6 offensive linemen, we signed 6 defensive backs, and there may be a year that there's not a lot of defensive backs or a lot of offensive linemen that we feel can play for us. So, like any year, we're going to sign guys that we think can come in and make an impact in our football program, and not just sign guys just to sign guys to be able to fill needs. We didn't sign a defensive lineman, and part of that was, we didn't have a super deep recruiting pool at our level, what we thought, in the defensive line. So, sometimes that happens and you end up taking maybe a little bit deeper class in certain positions, but over the years, I think you learn you need to be able to take maybe deeper classes when the recruiting pool is there, because in the future, you never know what the recruiting pool is going to be for the areas that we recruit. And primarily we're in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, Iowa, and in Las Vegas.
Over to John.
That's the perfect segue to what I was going to ask you. What's the connection with Nevada?
Sure. So the connection with Nevada, I have a former coach that's a counselor out there, and I've stayed in contact with him over the years. Maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago, he called and said, "You guys need to come out. I'll connect you with the right schools. We'll make sure that you guys are getting the right kids out of the city of Las Vegas." So I've stayed in contact with him, and we have over the years, I think we'll have 5 or 6 kids from Nevada, and we've continued to work hard out there and be able to attract these guys to the Midwest.
Go to Sam.
A lot of attention is going to be brought to the quarterbacks. You brought in 2. I guess tell us a little bit about them and kind of what they bring to the table.
Sure. Nate Elms from Maple Grove and Kyle Waljasper. Both are guys that we had in camp. Both are guys that we had evaluated extremely hard. I think the quarterback position may be the toughest to recruit as far as knowing the ability to manage a game and lead a team and be able to make decisions in critical situations from that position. So these are recruits that sometimes you have in-depth conversations with to make sure that they're guys that when the game's on the line that they're going to be able to look the group in the huddle. So and be able to make the right decision. So both similar that they're both athletic quarterbacks. As you guys have watched our system, we want guys that can run and can move. And both, I think, have the ability to be able to put the ball down the field. I think the biggest thing with the quarterback position is when you get them on campus, being able to teach these guys our system and be able to be a coach on the field for us. So I like both their personalities, both intelligent guys that come highly recommended from their coaching staffs that we've had in camp and feel really good about.
Back to Sam.
And you've got Zach Wallace as athlete. For those who don't know, just kind of explain that, because it's been a trend recently where guys are recruited as athletes. What is the idea behind that when you bring in a guy who doesn't fit in any kind of specific position?
Yeah, well, Zach's a guy that he does fit in a position. Zach will either be a safety or a tailback for us. But he's a guy, similar to Gavin Skelton, that maybe Gavin was an athlete really coming out of Mesabi East, but he was a tailback and a guy that they used all over the field offensively, but they also used him a lot in the secondary. So as we recruit those guys, and we have all sorts of those guys on our roster right now that come in athletically, they can probably fit multiple positions. As they get here, they work their way into a position, they settle into it, and that's what they end up being. Some of our best defensive backs have come in as wide receivers, and some of our guys that maybe have been tremendous linebackers or quarterbacks or whatever have end up in a different position. So that doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen through the recruiting process that you say, hey, you're a guy that we can use all over the field. Let's kind of wait and see where you're at and be able to move you into position when we get you on campus.
Do you have any other questions here for Coach Weezy? Go back to Sam.
Not in any update, I guess, from the NSIC. I know it's not a real recruiting question, but anything from them in regarding to the idea that there was going to be a spring season?
Sure. Yeah. At Duluth, we won't be playing spring football as far as games. Our hope is to get back to practice. Our hope is to potentially have a scrimmage in the future in the spring, which would be tremendous. There are games that are going to be played or are scheduled to be played, I should say, at the Division II level. And the NSIC, everybody's going to be a little bit different. That's every administration, every coach's philosophy, every program's philosophy kind of coming together, I think, per institution. And we've made the decision and a lot of this is me. We're not going to play a spring season. I think the plus and minus of playing the spring season is if you play 1 or 2 games and you put the expense into it and it ends up getting canceled and or you're really not playing for a conference championship, you're not playing for a national title at the Division II level right now. We're going to focus on getting really good this spring, having a chance to be able to bring our guys together back in the weight room, back running and in spring practice, and focus on being as good as we can be in the fall.
By scrimmage, Kurt, you meant against another opponent, right? Not like a spring game.
Correct. Yep. So which is a little, it's not as traditional as we've had. Generally, we've had a maroon white game at the end of spring. This year, because of COVID and because other institutions across the country will be playing games, we will be allowed to have outside scrimmages against other opponents. So we're working on that right now. And again, there's a lot of things that need to happen in order for that to be pulled off because of the state of COVID. And we're working on that, and would be an exciting thing to be able to see an outside opponent a little bit this spring in a controlled environment.
All right. Do we have any final questions here for Coach Weezy? Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks.